Hey everyone, my name is Wedge. Khans of Tarkir just came out, but the meta is quickly shaping up to be a mid-range versus mid-range situation. This is to be expected since control decks really haven't figured out where they want to be just yet. Until that happens, let's enjoy the craziness that is new standard. Mardu Midrange is a strategy based around high-value creatures and a crap load of removal spells. That's the entire deck. You play something awesome, then kill everything your opponent has, just everything. You run 21 spells. All of them are removal based in one form or another. If you want to play a deck where you can just say die, die, die over and over and over again, this is for you. Let's do this. There are a lot of Mardu mana bases going around, but this one has become my favorite, and I know I'm not alone in that. 4 Temple of Malice, 2 Temple of Silence, 4 Caves of Koilos, and 2 Battlefield Forge are just the beginning of this non-basic land-heavy mana base. After that, we have 4 Nomad Outposts, 3 Mana Confluence, 1 Urborg, 2 Yawgmoth, 3 Swamps, and 1 Mountain. The deck runs 24 lands, and while it may seem complicated and full of come-into-play tap lands, it works like a charm, trust me. We'll start with the value creatures first. The deck runs 11. 4 Goblin Rabblemaster, 4 Butcher of the Horde, and 3 Stormbreath Dragon. At this point, if you're playing a red deck and not running Goblin Rabblemaster, you better have a really good reason why not. Either you don't own them, or you're allergic to goblins. What I'm saying is that the Rabblemaster just provides so much value over time and represents a consistent every turn threat. It punishes empty boards and increases your own board position. It's just a great card. The cat's out of the bag, so to speak. Butcher of the Horde is simply a monster. 4 mana for a 5/4 flyer is already good. Being able to sacrifice your goblin tokens to give it lifelink, vigilance, or haste, yeah, that's bonkers. While this does require you to have all your colors on turn 4, that really won't be that difficult, I promise. The mana base is criminally consistent. If you can get the Butcher out early and untap with it, I have no idea how your opponent will fight it. It demands an immediate answer, or it's swinging for 5 in the air every turn. No one can deal with that long term. Stormbreath Dragon is included here for a couple of reasons. First, it gives you a nice mana sink late game if it comes to that. Second, it has protection from white, flying, and haste. I guess it's actually second, third, and fourth, but whatever. The point is that the flying is good, haste is good, and pro-white is amazing. In this new format where Devouring Light and Banishing Light are both getting played pretty heavily, pro-white is a godsend. If your opponent isn't packing a counterspell, black kill spell, or something super powerful, there isn't much that can deal with this in the air and survive. Before I continue, I know there's something that's bothering you. Why isn't Bramaz included in this deck? I have answers. Currently, there are a few different Mardu midrange builds running around. Some of them focus more on the creature package and synergy with Butcher of the Horde. Those decks tend to run Bramaz. The version that we're talking about in this video is the spell-focused midrange deck. While Bramaz is a great card, we simply needed the room to fit more spells. Disruption and removal are outrageously important in this new standard format. Yes, the Mardu deck that placed second in the SCG Open ran Bramaz, but that was without perfect information. Now we know what's out there, and I truly believe that the spell-focused Mardu mid-range strategy is where I want to be right now. Of course, at the end of the day, it's personal preference, but for me, I'm all about them spells, and killing Manus Rider. Speaking of spells, the deck runs 21 of them. 4 Heroes Downfall, 4 Crackling Doom, and 4 Lightning Strike tell you all you need to know about the spell package. Things need to die, and you're going to kill them. The Downfall kills pretty much everything. Crackling Doom, in a lot of situations, will perform very similarly to Hero's Downfall, destroying the thing you wanted dead in the first place. Lightning Strike is just the best version of Lightning Bolt right now, so it gets an auto-include. It's basically necessary against a lot of the early game aggressive decks running around right now, and anything that uses the word tempo or wins. The rest of the spells are 4 Thoughtseize, 1 Despise, 1 Murderous Cut, and 2 Magma Jet. Thoughtseize is a bomb spell and ends up being great against everything that isn't super aggressive. Despise functions similarly, especially in a new meta where creatures and planeswalkers are super dangerous. I'll despise a Siege Rhino all day, just saying. Murderous Cut and Magma Jet are both there to add to the removal package. The Jet has proved its worth time and time again, so that should be a no-brainer by now. Murderous Cut is where a lot of you might have question marks. As far as one-ofs go, this might be one of the best I've used in a while. Considering how many spells you're packing, your graveyard will get full. Most of the time, this will end up costing maybe 2 or 3 mana at most. It's surprisingly efficient. Just remember that you're going to be slinging spells the entire game. A game where you're not casting a ton of spells all the time is already over. Murderous Cut is great, trust me, try it out. The last 5 cards in the deck are Planeswalkers, 3 Sarkhan the Dragonspeaker, and 2 Sorin Solemn Visitor. Sarkhan is an all-star, everyone knows it at this point. His +1 is scary to fight, his -3 removes most of the format, and he's a Planeswalker, limiting the removal that can be used against him. He's exactly what you want out of a mid-range Planeswalker. Immediate benefit, possible removal, annoyingly difficult to get rid of, and demands an answer. Perfect. Sorin Solemn Visitor makes so much sense in this strategy. He can pseudo Jeskai charm your team, giving them all a buff, and lifelink makes for great tempo. His -2 is nice to apply pressure in the air. Worst case scenario, you can sacrifice them to the Butcher, and he's reasonably costed. As far as permanents go, the only other card he's fighting with is Butcher of the Horde for that 4 slot. If you have both of them available, the board state should dictate which one you'll play. Regardless, he's a great addition to a deck that values creature quality. It's definitely worth the inclusion. This version of Mardu Midrange is all about getting a couple creatures onto the field and then using your spells to kill literally everything else, and I mean everything. The deck wouldn't run 21 spells if it didn't want you to use them. Keep that in mind when you're playing. Don't be too stingy with your lightning strikes, especially early game. Just throw your electricity around. It's honestly okay. I highly recommend it, actually. The sideboard for Mardu Midrange is pretty straightforward, unlike some decks we've looked at in the past. 2 of the reasons you're packing so much removal is for green-white aggro and mono-black aggro, both consistent strategies. The decks are annoying, we all know it. If they can curve out quickly, it'll be difficult to burn everything down in time. You need removal early. Take out your Thoughtseize and a few of your more expensive removal spells named Crackling Doom. Against this deck, Magma Spray and Anger of the Gods are complete bombs, so bring those in. When you're up against other mid-range strategies, basically anything besides the Jeskai tempo deck or the mirror match, you're going to want to sideboard pretty heavily. It's all about taking out their huge creatures before you bleed too much. Lightning Strike and Magma Jet aren't as good in these matchups as they won't hit Siege Rhino or Courser or Crewfix. Bring in some mid-game removal like Reprisal and Banishing Light. You could even pop in a couple Elspeth. I saw a few lists running Erebos out of the sideboard to deal with Siege Rhino and Wingmate Rock, but I haven't tried that yet, although it seems super fun. Side note, Reprisal is fantastic. If you're running a white deck and you don't have this on your sideboard, stop it. Put it there right now. Reprisal is insane. Absolutely just a huge monster. Run it. If you're up against something like a Monsters variant or a mono-green Devotion list, you can try bringing in cards like Deicide or Deflecting Palm. Deicide will remove their Courser that they will have every single game no matter what. Deflecting Palm performs best when diverting huge hits. This is the ideal matchup for the Palm. The same stuff comes out, Lightning Strike, Magma Jet, anything that doesn't deal with their threats is pretty much useless, remember that. Mardu Midrange is a strategy that is designed to fight other midrange decks. It's an answer to the current meta, and how long it stays relevant is going to rely on how long it takes control decks to adapt to what's going on. You have answers for most everything. Just prepare your sideboard for aggressive strategies. Don't let mono black or green-white aggro come out of nowhere and beat you. You're better than that. Good luck. What do you all think of the spell-based version of Mardu Midrange? I gotta say, kinda love it. I'm not used to not playing blue, but this kind of a deck makes the transition easy. There's a lot of disruption and control in this strategy without giving up too much board presence. It's a great balance. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, concerns, anything at all really. Remember to subscribe for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source, I'm Wedge, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.